Adesina Koiki here at the Barclays Center for Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Media Days, and I am joined by Dan Hurley of the Rhode Island Rams head coach, and that's the nickname that the Jersey City kids gave you, huh?
Yeah, you know, my wife and kids, they don't know about that name either, so it's going to be a little awkward when I get home tonight.
Is it better that they don't know about that?
You know what, they're going to find out. There's obviously a lot of things about my childhood they don't know.
Okay. Wow. Jeez. Anyways, no, we totally kid. You're Jersey City. I'm New York City, so believe me, there's some things that I keep under wraps as well about my childhood as well. But one thing that's not under wraps is the expectations for this university on the men's basketball court. Picked second in the preseason poll. You've been at Rhode Island where there hasn't been that much expectations in the preseason poll. Now this year, you're picked second, 8 first-place votes. Do you temper those expectations with your student athletes? Do you let them embrace it and hopefully use that as even more motivation? How do you deal with now expectations, especially given the fact that your players will know that and do know that?
Yeah, I mean, preseason polls, you know, prognostications, that stuff is really good for our fans. It's good for our students, gets them excited about the season. You know, as fans, you know, they've stood by this program. We went through a stretch of 29 wins in 3 years. We embrace the excitement leading up to the season. Our fans deserve that. They're incredibly loyal and incredibly supportive. But what we're really focused on is the way we train, the way we prepare, our commitment level of our players. Because we have a really talented team, a team that turned the corner last year and became a postseason program and played at the top of the conference. And our focus right now is to focus on our practice, focus on our preparation, focus on our culture, not talk about second place championships, but focus on the work because we have the type of talented team. If we focus on those things, good things will happen.
What is your team's level of focus at this moment in time?
We've had great practices. I think we're further ahead as a team than we've been at this point the last couple of years in terms of where we're at offensively, defensively, understanding what our expectations are, what our responsibilities are as players. So we feel real good about where we're at after 9 practices.
Last season, very successful season at the top of the Atlantic 10, fighting for an NCAA tournament berth until at the very end being here in Brooklyn for the Atlantic 10 tournament. You're in your 4th year, going into your 4th year. Some coaches and or just some people may interpret that coaches have quote-unquote 5-year plans, 3-year plans. Did you have a fill-in-the-blank year plan, and where do you think this team is in terms of meeting your expectations given the plan that you had for this university when you first stepped on the campus in Kingston?
Yeah, I think our plan overall was obviously to recruit the type of people that would turn our program around. We believe that the commitment level that the university's made to me and towards the program to develop something great should put our program in position every year, to be a major factor in our conference, to have a chance to play at the top of the conference, to fight for postseason bids, whether it's the NCAA or the NIT every year. And I think we're right where we thought we'd be, going into our 3rd year last year, being right on the cusp of making the tournament. We were a couple of late game threes away from being a tournament team last year. So, we're excited about where we're at, and we feel like we have the type of staying power based on the amount of young talent we have in the program and the commitment that's been made to all of us.
Some of the talent that you have are on the first team. A couple of players on the preseason first team, and Hassan Martin and E.C. Matthews, 2 real game breakers on your roster. And I don't want to not talk about some of the other players on your roster because you play with 5 players and you have the depth, but those are 2 players that you really look to for not just leadership on the court with their scoring, but just leadership in general and having players follow their lead. How have you challenged them, or what do you want them or wanted them to improve on from the end of last season to now as basketball players and or as people?
Yeah, we want those guys to continue to be more efficient, especially EC. He was obviously one of the top scorers in the conference as a guard. We want him to take the next step and become a more efficient player, to not be a great scoring guard, but to be a great guard that defends, rebounds the ball, shoots the ball with good numbers in terms of his efficiency. Hassan Martin, we want to continue to see him expand his game. offensively especially. He's an elite defender in our conference. And then lastly, with both guys, it's not enough for those guys to just be good players. They got to become great leaders. They're now junior players. They're our most seasoned players in our program. They've got to carry themselves like captains every single day.
Who are some of the players on your roster that maybe the casual fan may not know of, but you're expecting a lot of this season, and maybe those casual fans will know of their names by the time we're at March in 2016?
Yeah, we had 2 freshmen that started for us throughout the season, and Jarvis Garrett, freshman point guard that started about 20 games last year, who played really, really outstanding basketball the last 10 or 12 games of the season. And then Jared Terrell, obviously was an all-rookie player in the conference last year, who's an explosive guard that, dropped his weight from about 230 to about 210. So he looks great. He's in incredible shape, and he's the type of emotional, intense competitor that could be a real lightning rod for us.
When a team is ready to make an NCAA tournament run, I know some staffs will want to make sure that the non-conference is set up in a way where you can get those RPI boosting wins and just those games where you prove to the committee that you challenged yourself. You have a team like Iowa on your schedule with 4 returning starters and won an NCAA tournament game against Davidson, an Old Dominion team that was lights out for so long in the regular season in Conference USA. Do you believe that the non-conference schedule is meaty enough that if you do what you need to do, that the committee, especially in your A-10 play, that the committee can't ignore you guys?
I think our plan was to obviously was a couple things we were looking for. Obviously, play a number of teams in our non-conference that we believe will be NCAA tournament caliber programs. Which, if you have the opportunity to beat those teams, then you're obviously helping yourself for an NCAA bid. Obviously, there's no one on our non-conference schedule, that's probably below a 200 for us on the RPI. So our non-conference schedule, I think, is going to be really, really challenging. It's going to be by far the toughest that we've had since I've been here. And if you take care of business in that type of non-conference schedule, you get rewarded for it.
There's been some turnover with your coaching staff and as well as with your brother as well. I want to start with Luke Murray, who now is at Xavier University. How do you adjust for coaching losses, and what do you expect did you bring anybody in, and how do you replace what Luke brought to the university and to your staff?
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have a great staff, and my staff's done a great job for me to help building this program. And when you do a great job, you get rewarded by getting new opportunities. And so we're certainly going to miss Luke. Obviously, bringing in Antonio Reynolds-Dean, that's done a great job, in his career in his own right as a recruiter and as a coach, as a former player at URI, one of the all-time greats, and is having a huge impact in terms of working with our interior players right now. He's a guy who scored 1,500 points and had 1,000 rebounds, and played on those teams in the late '90s with in Elite 8 games, and played with Lamar and Catino Mobley and Tyson Wheeler. So it's part of the business.
Guys like Preston Murphy as well. I remember that '98 team. How important is it to have Antonio Reynolds-Dean, a player who was on a roster that was one game away and maybe just Mark Madsen in the second half away from going to the Final Four? How important is it to keep things in the URI family?
Yeah, I think it's anytime you get the right person that has the right qualities and work ethic as an assistant coach, that's obviously what's most important. Obviously, the cherry on top is bringing in a guy that's a beloved figure, and a huge part of University of Rhode Island basketball history. And his presence, he's accomplished a lot of things that we want our guys to accomplish in their career. Obviously, not only individually, but the great team success that he had, and that experience that he had as a player with the Rams, I think, it gets our guys to buy in even more.
How happy are you for your brother Bobby Hurley to do what he did at the State University of New York in Buffalo, University at Buffalo, and now in the desert at Arizona State, starting his first season? How proud are you of him for his rapid coaching ascent?
Yeah, Bob was so awesome. the time we got to spend together, for 3 years, coaching together. It was really an amazing experience for both of us to do what you love. With someone that that's your best friend is a really, really cool thing. He had an amazing year at Buffalo. And now he's in a really exciting position at Arizona State, a place with great potential, a place with great weather, especially compared to those Buffalo winters. But he's enjoying every second there of a program that's considered a place with huge potential.
Being that he was an assistant under you as well and really got the coaching bug under you, even though he's the older brother, is he going to funnel half his salary to you?
I think that if he was a man of honor, there would be checks, monthly.
Is he a man of honor?
We're going to find out. I wasn't expecting it until probably November, but I'm certainly looking.
We will figure out if Bobby Hurley is a man of honor. We kid. Good luck to Bobby Hurley in Tempe, and best of luck and success to you in Kingston, Rhode Island. Dan Hurley of the University of Rhode Island Rams, thank you so very much for joining us. Best of luck and success to you and the Rams in 2015-2016.
Thanks for having me.